Hey, what's up? Stephanie, the English coach here from EnglishFulltime.com. In today's video, I'm going to share 7 brilliant ways to improve your English. Now, before I get started, I just want to say it feels really good to be back here on YouTube. You may have noticed that I took a break for a while. I barely posted in the last 2 years. And the reason, for those of you who have been wondering, is that I had 2 kids in the last 2 years, so I was really busy just being a mom. But beyond that, I had to prioritize our courses. We have been building several English courses to help students take their English from intermediate to advanced and beyond. And I created multiple courses over the last 2 years. It was a lot of work. And as much as I wanted to continue here on YouTube and social media in general, I just couldn't. I had to prioritize. Sometimes we have to do that in life, right? We can't do it all. So I did it. I got through the courses. The students love them. And now it's just awesome because we're able to continue enrolling students in those courses throughout the year, every year, and I can just come back to YouTube and only focus on this. How wonderful, right? Okay, so that is why I took a break, and thank you for your patience. If you've been waiting for me to come back, I am so happy to be back with you. So without further ado, let's get started, and let me share these 7 brilliant ways you can improve your English. Okay, so the first thing you can do is talk with everyone. Now, whoa, I know you're like, Stephanie, that is so obvious. Why would you share that as your first tip? Let me explain. First, I have a question for you. Are you doing this, right? The English speakers you know in your life, are you talking with them at every opportunity that you get? Or are you avoiding conversations? Are you not speaking up? Are you not telling your stories? Are you not telling jokes because you're just nervous or you're not confident or you're afraid, right? Sometimes you have to just make a choice and say, I'm going to speak. I'm going to start talking more. I'm going to stop avoiding all of these opportunities that I have to speak. Now, if you live in an English-speaking country, you have so many opportunities to speak every single day, right? And let me just list a few of these. You can speak with your coworkers. You don't have to wait for people to initiate conversation with you. You can decide that you are going to be the initiator of conversations, and you can go up to your coworkers every day and just start chatting, ask questions, give compliments, share a story. When other people are sharing stories and they're laughing about things, just jump right in, right? Talk with your coworkers, form a relationship with them. Don't wait for people to come to you and start pursuing you and forming relationships with you. Again, you can be the initiator. When you purchase something, talk to the cashier. They're a real person. Don't just go through the transaction, literally and figuratively, of purchasing something, but actually ask them in a genuine way, like, hey, how's your day? How are you doing today? What's going on? What are you going to do later? What are you looking forward to this weekend? Something like that. People don't often expect it, and it makes their job a little bit nicer as well. Next, you can talk to your neighbors, right? What I love doing, and this always works like a charm, is I like going for daily walks. And if you do this around your neighborhood, you'll really start getting to know your neighbors because they'll be out, trimming their trees or gardening or whatever. Maybe they are walking as well. And a simple hello goes a long way. And you don't have to strike a conversation the first time you see somebody, but after you've seen them a few times, you can be like, hey, I've seen you in the neighborhood a few times. I live back over there that way. Do you live over here? Or how long have you lived here? Whatever it is, think before you go for the walk, like, if I see somebody today, what can I say to them, right? I mean, even something as simple as, wow, it's a beautiful day today. Even that can start a conversation, right? I met one of my neighbors. I always see my neighbors when I'm going for walks. And one of them, we just like comment on the weather all the time. Like, oh, great weather today, or oh, horrible weather, but whatever. It's very trivial. It's very superficial, but it can lead to deeper things. So for example, in the summer, it was really hot and we got to talking and she's like, wow, I have so many tomatoes in my garden. Would you like some? And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding? I love homegrown tomatoes. So yeah, she invited me into her home. She showed me her garden. She gave me bags of tomatoes, cucumbers, stuff like that. It was really awesome. So if you live, again, in an English-speaking country, go for walks, say hello to your neighbor, as something, again, as simple as that can lead to relationships, conversations, etc. And then a couple more things. You can work as a volunteer somewhere. There's so many volunteer opportunities. I won't get into that in this video, but you can seek out these opportunities, work as a volunteer, and boom, you will have unlimited opportunities to speak with people. If you have kids and they go to public school, private school, or anywhere where they have a teacher, you can talk to their teacher like, hey, how is my student doing in your class? Is there anything I need to know or be aware of? How can I support them more at home? When it's time for a parent-teacher conference, don't sit back and be shy and let the teacher do all the talking. Really get in there and ask about your child so you can advocate for them, so you can really get to know their teacher and form that bond with them and support their education. When your kid has to go to the doctor, really talk to the doctor. Don't do the thing where it's like you tell your kid to tell this thing to the doctor and then the doctor speaks to the kid and then they speak to you, where you're using your kid as a translator, right? Really advocate for yourself, for your family, for your children. Speak directly to other professionals, other people you encounter, because you'll get practice with your English, you'll push yourself out of your comfort zone, and it will give you an immense sense of pride when you do this, right? Or even striking up a conversation with a stranger at the bus stop, just like, hey, so where are you going today? Or whatever, right? Sometimes we aren't naturally these social butterfly kinds of people, but we can choose to be, especially if it means that at the other end of it, you will get language practice, you will build confidence, and you will make friends, build your network, etc. I cannot speak enough about the importance of doing this. Now, I feel like I left out so many people in the last few minutes of this video because really this advice was for people who are living in English-speaking countries. And there are people right now like tapping their foot going, okay, Stephanie, but like I don't live in an English-speaking country. Who am I going to talk to? Okay, I have some tips for you too. Don't worry. Okay, so if you, again, going back to the talk with everybody, we have this incredible thing called the internet. And I say that a little bit sarcastically, I guess, but it's true. We have this incredible thing called the internet. We can connect with people at the touch of a button. It is so amazing. So you are going to have to use the internet if you don't, have neighbors who speak English. So really quickly, there are language exchange apps. Now I know language exchange apps can be really frustrating when you just get hit on all the time or people don't seem like they're really serious language partners. You do have to do quite a bit of digging around sometimes to find someone to speak with, but eventually you will find that person that you're like, you know what, this is a great language partner and I'm really happy I put in the effort to finding somebody. And that's the thing. You often don't find what you want the second you look for it, okay? It takes time, dedication. And I think if you mentally prepare yourself for that, like, okay, I'm going to download a language exchange app and I'm going to dedicate 20 minutes a day to finding partners and testing people out. And I'm going to assume that it'll take me an entire month to find one good language partner or something like that. When you're mentally prepared for it, the frustration that comes with not finding somebody is easier because you're like, well, I already knew this was going to happen. It's not like you go on there thinking on day one you're going to have an amazing experience and an amazing partner, and then you're there frustrated because it just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, right? Okay. The next thing you can do, if you have the money to invest, you can book classes with a teacher and schedule conversation classes. And something that I would recommend is, show up with things to talk about, have your teacher show up with things to talk about, and then ask them to take notes on your mistakes as the class is happening. And then at the end of the class, they can review some of the mistakes with you. But I find that to be much more effective for having a free flowing, engaging, fun conversation than having a teacher stop you like every 2 sentences, like, wait, you said that wrong. Wait, you said that wrong. Wait, you said that wrong, right? So enjoy the experience of the conversation and leave the last 5 or 10 minutes for reviewing mistakes and learning. Okay, and my final tip for talking with everybody and doing this online is you can start some kind of club. You can be the leader. You can be, again, the initiator. So much of achieving in life or succeeding in life comes back to you taking control and initiating and making things happen, right? Not waiting for them to happen. So starting a club, like a book club or a weekly practice group for you and some of your peers, where every week at the same time we meet, we're going to to discuss another chapter of a book we all agree to read. We're going to have questions, etc. But you can do these things. You don't have to find a club that's already out there. I mean, you can, but you don't have to wait around and wish something like this would happen. You can create it yourself. Okay, I had to take a quick break because one of my kids woke up from his nap. The other kid was hungry, so took care of all of that, and now I am back. Okay, so the second way to improve your English is by learning the lyrics of all your favorite songs. Hopefully, you have really discovered some music in English that you love, because there's no sense in learning lyrics to songs you don't like. But yeah, hopefully you have music that you really love. So basically, if you dedicate yourself to really learning the lyrics, memorizing them, learning the vocabulary that they use, studying it, etc., this is going to help you with so much, because you're going to love the music, you're going to want to sing the songs, you'll be able to sing along, you'll know the vocabulary. And I know so many English learners who have gotten to a really high level of English with their pronunciation, with their vocabulary, with their cultural awareness, just through music. If you think about it, it's an amazing way to learn a language and really work on and train your voice. When you sing, you are training your voice, right? You're trying to match the pace, the melody, the intonation, the rhythm, the sounds, all of these things. And then the vocabulary on top of that, it's just wow, if this isn't the perfect way to learn a language, I don't know what is. So when you are learning the lyrics of your favorite songs, I also want to encourage you to go deeper, to really connect to the music by doing some research, right? Why was this song created? What was the artist trying to communicate? Learn about your favorite bands. How did they find each other? How did they start? Why did they decide to create the type of music that they created, etc.? You can really go deep when it comes to music, not just learn your favorite songs and the lyrics, but learn about them. And all of this will add really great vocabulary to your word bank and knowledge, right, about something specific that later you can share with other people in conversation. The next time you hear someone talking about the Beatles, for example, you can say, "Oh, did you know da 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 da," right? And then you say a fun fact about this group because you know about them, you've listened to their music, you've learned their songs, you know the lyrics, and you know the history, right? And you can do that with obviously any band. It doesn't have to be from way back when. Okay, and the last thing here is I want to encourage you to create your own playlists of music and challenge yourself to find new types of music as well that maybe you have not heard before. For example, you can look up songs from the 80s in English, right? Songs from the 60s, the 70s, the 90s, specific genres of music. And if you don't know what the genres are, you can do a quick Google search, what are the different genres of music? And then you can read about the different genres. There's also going to be subgenres, right? And you can just start exploring so much, right? And you will find really great music, really great songs. It's a very fun way to improve your English and to be able to work on it a little bit every day. Okay, so the next thing you can do to improve your English is repeat new words. So you hear a word, you're like, "Oh, that's new," and repeat it immediately so you can practice saying it. But beyond repeating it, you can look it up online, look up the definition, look up example sentences, look at how it translates to your native language. You can write it down, try to use it, and in general, just spend time with the word. The more time you spend with it, the more you will get to know it, right? And how to use it. Now, a really great way to keep track of new words that you learn is by creating a bullet journal for vocabulary. If you don't know what a bullet journal is, basically it's a journal, kind of like a diary, but the pages are blank and you can write on them and draw on them and organize information on them in very creative ways. And it's just a really awesome way to interact with what you are learning. If you just hear a new word and you're like, "Oh, that's a great word," and you quickly look it up in the dictionary, you might remember it, you might not, but the more you interact with each new word that you learn, especially if you're at a more advanced level where you're not finding new words every single day necessarily, or you know a lot of what you consume already, this is a great way to just really add those words that you've never seen before, never heard before, and start compiling them in a visual journal that you can then flip through the pages to refresh your mind and be like, oh yeah, I remember that word. This is where I learned it. And it's also just a fun thing that you can do, especially if you're a creative type person. You like drawing, you like using highlighters, different colored pens. Bullet journals are really awesome for creative people. So if you don't know what these are or how to do them, there is a ton of information online about it. And I encourage you to dive into the world of bullet journals because, again, if you're a creative person, I don't think you will regret it. It'll be a lot of fun. The next thing you can do to improve your English is participate in online forums. Now, you can participate in Reddit forums, Facebook groups, on Twitter, basically, I mean, even Instagram, even the comments on YouTube, right? Just interact with people online and read what other people are writing and then create your own response. But the cool thing about forums is people generally write the way that they speak. It's not really like reading some type of formal document or something like that. It's like people are thinking their thoughts in their head and then they are putting them out with their keyboards onto the internet. And so that the way comments are written is the way that people speak. So you can analyze this. You can analyze the sentence structure, the vocabulary. And if you don't really feel like analyzing, you can just participate because the more you read and the more you respond, read, respond, right? You're going to start internalizing the language in a way you've never done before if you don't do this. And I have found that the students who participate in online forums regularly often have the most natural English. The way that they express themselves, it's almost like if you were to read a comment from a native speaker and a non-native speaker, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference, right? Because the non-native speaker spends so much time in the online forums, they know exactly how to express their ideas the same way a native speaker would do it, and they just sound so natural. So I cannot recommend online forums enough for learning sentence structure, natural sentence structure, normal everyday vocabulary that you need to communicate your ideas. And also it's great for learning how to defend your ideas, right? Because someone might come at you like, no, that's wrong, or no, it's not like that. And it gives you the opportunity to sharpen your ideas, to communicate, to practice communicating more clearly. It's great. Okay. I could go on, but just trust me here. It's a really great way to improve your English. Oh, but the key, and I'll say this, and it's like with everything, you have to find forums that genuinely interest you to the point where you cannot resist the communication, right? If there's, I don't know, let's say something about gardening, and you're like, I really don't care about gardening, right? And then you want to participate in that online forum, it's going to be like, there's no way you're going to participate because you don't feel compelled to speak up because you don't care about the topic, right? So again, take time to go within yourself and ask yourself, what do I love? What do I want to learn about? What do I love talking about? What am I really interested in? And then go find material forums related to those things, because then when people start talking about it, you will feel compelled to join the conversation. Okay, the next thing you can do to really improve your English is read a lot. How much are you reading every day? Are you just reading things when you have to read them? Or are you spending 30 minutes to maybe even an hour a day reading books, reading newspapers, reading comments online, reading just anything, right? Read, read, read. The more you read, the more vocabulary you are going to expose yourself to, and the more ideas you're going to come across, right? People expressing ideas, sharing them. And again, the more you read, the more your mind will internalize the language and find the patterns. And pretty soon you'll start learning how to express your own ideas. And you might not even know how you know, but you'll just know like, oh, I should express it like this. I should say it like this, because you've read it so many times. It's like you just know. And research does show that people who read more tend to have a bigger vocabulary than people who don't. So again, take the time to find what you're interested in and then start small. You can commit to one book, right? read one book, then read another one. And also, if you start reading and you're like, never mind, this is actually not that interesting, don't force yourself to read something you don't actually love, because then it kind of defeats the purpose and it's not going to be productive for you. So instead, find something you like, right? I keep saying this, but take the time to really find things you like so that you will take that book to the bathroom with you instead of your phone, so that you will read that book before you go to bed. You will want to read that book first thing in the morning, or when you have a 5-minute break from your work, you will want to pick up that book and read it, okay? This is the kind of material you should be working with, the stuff that really pulls you to it with such a strong magnetic attraction that you just can't help yourself. You're overcome with the desire to read it. And maybe you're the kind of person, I used to say this, like, oh, I don't really like reading. Well, I never really found what I like reading. And now it's like, yes, I really like reading now, but it's not so much the reading, the action of reading in and of itself that I love, but the experience, right? The learning. I love learning things through books. I tend to read a lot of nonfiction these days. I say, like, when I get old and I retire, maybe then I'll have time for fiction. But right now I'm all about learning and self-improvement and all those things. Okay, the next thing you can do to really improve your English is study with your peers, okay? Other English learners. Now, before I give you examples of how to do this, I just want to say, I know there are so many people that are like, I don't want to study with other English learners. I don't want to hear other people make mistakes because then I'm going to catch those mistakes like it's a cold or something, right? No, it doesn't work like that. And I find this to be quite interesting because in every other profession, right, when you go to college and you study something, who do you study with? Do you study with the teachers? Do you study with the people that designed the curriculum? No. You study with your peers. And in every other walk of life, in every other situation where you go to college and you study, you're studying with your peers. If you're going to be a doctor, who are you studying with? You're not studying with other doctors. You're studying with other students who also are trying to become doctors. So this is so normal and so acceptable and so productive and good, right? We recognize this in every other form of studying. But for some reason, when it comes to language learning, people are like, I don't want to study with my peers. I can only study with a native speaker. I can only study with a teacher. I should only do classes with, these types of people. And it's like, no, you're forgetting that, again, that's not how people do it when they study. Usually people study with their peers. And just because another English learner maybe is not as good in pronunciation, maybe they're really good in vocabulary. Maybe you're great in pronunciation, but you're not really good in vocabulary, right? So you can use your strengths to help others, and they can use their strengths to help you, and everybody works together and everybody learns. So studying with your peers is so good, productive, effective, fun, and it's a shame that not enough people do it. And this is why in the courses I create, there's always a community element, and I have the students work together. There's projects, there's homework, there's tasks, and they're not doing it with me, they're doing it with each other, and it's an amazing experience, and it really works. So I know this works, I know it's good, I know it's productive, and if you're not doing it, you should start thinking about how you can incorporate this into your life. And to give you a few ideas about how you can do that, you can set up regular speaking practice sessions, right? Where it's just like, we're going to shoot the breeze, we're going to chat, we're going to catch up on life. It's going to be very informal, very fun. Everybody comes on a Saturday morning. You have a group of 3 or 4 people, come with your coffee, whatever. Basically, everybody get together. We're going to take turns speaking, take turns leading the conversation. We're going to ask questions. And if you do this regularly and have a set date and time, then it will become a habit that you form, and you will get a weekly conversation practice session in every week without fail. And again, you get to be the manager of that. You get to determine whether this happens in your life or not. Anyways, in these practice sessions, if you want to make them a little bit more formal, a little bit more structured, you can do that. You don't need a teacher to do this for you. You can discuss current events. Like today, we're going to talk about this current event and our opinions, our ideas, what you might know about it, what I might know about it. You can discuss current events. You can start a book club. You can analyze blog posts. you can do all kinds of things, right? The sky's the limit. You just have to start thinking creatively, thinking as a teacher would think, right? Because if a teacher were to create a practice group and speaking sessions, they would have to think, come up with the content. What should we discuss? What questions should we ask? How can we make this fun and interesting? But again, instead of waiting for somebody else to do it or paying to be a part of something like that, you could just set it up yourself. Actually, a lot of the students who join our courses, they become friends. And then when the course is over, they keep studying together. And a lot of our students have started book clubs. They have started practice groups. They have started all kinds of things to stay connected and to keep studying with each other. And I think that that is phenomenal. It's perfect. And that's why they get such great results also, because they don't stop. They make it a lifestyle. Now, if you're thinking this sounds fun, I want to do it, I say go for it. And we're coming upon the end of 2022, right? So a really great conversation topic or a theme you could make for your practice session is reviewing the year 2022. Like, how was it for you on a personal level, a work business level, your goals? What did you achieve and do? What did you not achieve and do? And what do you want to do differently next year? What are you looking forward to in the next year, etc.? That's a really great topic for this time of year. Okay, the next thing you can do to improve your English is really take advantage of all our free resources that we offer on our website. At this point, I've created several free resources. There are guides, masterclasses. There's even a free pronunciation course. This course is phenomenal. It's 7 days long. It's called our Fluent Pronunciation Challenge. You should start today if you have time for the next 7 days to really commit to this. But hundreds, I think thousands of students at this point have done this challenge and they really love it. They get great results. It's a lot of training in a very short amount of time. It's over an hour a day of training. Plus there's a couple tasks for you to do as well throughout the week to implement what you learn. So if you want to improve your pronunciation, your speaking, stuff like that, then this is perfect for you. I'll leave a link below where you can find it and get started, but that's not the only free resource that we offer. We have other things as well. So take time to dig through the website. I'll leave the link below where you can check out our free stuff, read the guides, watch the master classes. There's so much to learn there. And if you're really serious about improving your English and you want to learn in a structured way with good material, tons of support, and an awesome community of leaders, then I cannot recommend our courses enough. To find out when we are launching each one, when each one is open for enrollment, etc., you need to be on our email list. That is where we will let everybody know which course is opening, when, what are the details of the course, and will help you decide if this is an investment of time and finances that you should make that's right for you where you're at right now with your English and your goals. So that's it. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it inspired you to take action with your English, right? There's so much that you can do. There's so much that you can do for free. You don't have to pay. But then if you want to invest in your English, there's options for you there as well. So take it all in, think about it, and just start with one thing. You don't have to make a bunch of changes overnight, but what's one thing you're going to do based on everything that I just mentioned in this video? What's one change you're going to make, right, that you're going to start doing so you can improve your English consistently over time? It's not about making a dramatic change in one day, but it's about little actions, step by step, every single day, and over time, that will create the results that you want. So let us know in the comments if this video was helpful, what you thought about it, what you learned, and what you're going to do to take action. As I said earlier, I am so glad that I finished making these courses. It was a lot of work. It was very rewarding and fun, but it's like, yay, now I can come back to YouTube, and I'm really happy to be back, you guys. So that's it. And let me know also, if you want, what other things you want me to teach. If you have any video suggestions or ideas, I love reading those in the comments, and I will be sure to show up very soon with more for you. That's it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye. The next people, oh my gosh, you can, I'm like, my mind is skipping around here. Let's just start over. And read what other people are writing, and then formulate, is that the right word? Okay. So yes, you get to determine whether this happens in your life or not, whether you pursue it or not, right? That determines whether it's going to happen or not. Man, I think I said that like the same way 5 different ways, or the same thing. I said the same thing 5 different ways. Okay.